The other day, I came across this post that I thought was hilarious. Really short post, but it definitely had people talking. So this woman named Leslie says, "I'm sorry to tell you this, but you are not in your divine feminine if you hate men and aren't holding space for their healing. I said what I said." And so then yesterday, I responded to that. "I don't want to be divine. I'll leave that remarkable title for you. You are so worthy. Hold space for them. You're amazing. They deserve you." And then I do the little heart thing. Okay, feminist rant knew that I was playing, and she said, "Oh my God." And she does this little cry face emoji. But I am not trying to be divine. I'm really not. All of this, flowers and sunshine and all of that, I'm aiming for feral. I am not trying to be in my divine feminine, because what has that gotten women anyway? But Leslie, she can do all of that. Be a safe space for them. Welcome them in their healing journey and all of that. There's the heart. She can do all of that, and I welcome her to, be that landing spot for them. Let's look at what the other people said. Some people are in agreement with Leslie, and some people are like, get someone else to do it. I am sure y'all will appreciate these comments, knowing who I have in my network. We got Kira saying, "The only thing I'ma hold for a chaotic, unhealed man is this Glock." Grumpy Rice Cake says, "You have won the comment section. Some women have never experienced the truly dark side of men, and it shows." So remember, Kira says she ain't holding space. She's holding this Glock. And to that, we have Antione saying, "Amen." And then we have Milfinator saying, "Gonna hold that belt buckle end out." And then we got 222 Raw saying, "Hello." We have Feminist Rant making her own comment. She says, "Sweetheart, my divine feminine doesn't require me to run a free emotional rehab center for men. Healing is a personal responsibility, not a gendered community service. If your femininity hinges on tolerating bad behavior while calling it holding space, that's not divinity. That's people pleasing with glitter on it. I said what I said." See, I know that I have found my people. There are tons of pick-me's. There are definitely tons of pick-me's over on Threads. But then you have these feral feminists over there as well. So Kimbo says, "Here the F it is. Space is held for those who understand and offer reciprocity. Healing is a personal responsibility. Period." Life of Shay is responding to the feminist rant. Now, Life of Shay is just throwing some words out here. She's just literally typing up some stuff. So she says, "LOL, your response just proved her point, hun, especially with that's people pleasing with glitter on it. Oh, spicy. Love a good cognitive dissonance expression to further prove the point being made. LOL. Yeah, you aren't going to get because you don't want to. You read it and chose to not understand a word she typed. LOL. Your response literally means you have zero comprehension of what she is talking about or the topic in discussion. She absolutely knows what she's talking about. She just rejects the notion, and she's typing all of these words. This is not cognitive dissonance. This is not understanding. She has a complete grasp of what the original post says. But this woman, Life of Shay, I feel like she learned some words this week and needed to throw them in here. Rachel is talking to Feminine Rant as well, saying, "You could have just said, 'I hate men,' and everyone would have understood, love. Using our divine feminine to be nasty to anyone is gross, and I'd wager you have no idea whatsoever it actually means, because men can access the divine feminine too. Also, have some glitter. Your hatred needs glamour. I said what I said." Some of these people, men and women, read a woman's apathy as hatred, because we're supposed to be the soft landing spot, because we're supposed to be giving. And the fact that women take exception to this is so weird. I do understand men, taking exception to it and pushing back. But it's really weird to me that this woman read, "I hate men," and saying that she's gross and being nasty in that comment. But let me go back to that real quick. She says she's not running a free emotional rehab center. She's saying healing is a personal responsibility. She says that she's not tolerating bad behavior. So, so none of that was hateful. She just says she's not doing this work. She's not a free community service. How is that hatred? How is that being nasty? Not offering your time, energy, and resources to men is not nasty. It's just self-preservation. It's conserving your own resources for yourself, and they don't like it. The feminist rant responds, who is I nasty to exactly? If I don't want to perform as a rehab center for men, how does that make me hateful? Am I not just protecting my peace? April says to her, oh gods, I loathe the protecting my peace. In my observations, most women who use that tired phrase do so out of the lack of desire to change themselves and refusal to admit wrongdoing in relationships. Calling Leslie's comment as people pleasing with glitter on it is a staged mic drop and meant as snark, aka nasty, and shows more about your character than her opinion in the original post. However, divinity is seated in love, so from one feminist to another, much love to you. So, like Feminist Rant says, April does not respect women who have boundaries because, like, why are you loathing protecting my peace? Women should have some kind of self-preservation, and protecting their peace is part of that. So here's the feminist rant saying, you don't loathe the phrase protecting my peace. You loathe women who practice healthy boundaries. It's always the women who bend themselves into origami for men who feel personally attacked when someone else says, I'm not doing unpaid emotional labor anymore. Might want to let that sink in if you're not too busy carrying the water for the patriarchy. See, I like people like her. April says, I find it sad but unsurprising you're determined to be contradictory with a woman who challenges your thought. It's always the women who have never had good relationships because they refuse to compromise. How does April know what the feminist ran? How does she know anything about her relationships based on this? She says, or that one bad one, and now all men are pigs. That continued to spout dissent instead of actually listening to what the other person is saying. Maybe let that sink in. Oh, and I bend for no one, man or woman. You're imagining devils to suit your version of hell. Like, what is this? Is this supposed to make that woman feminist rant become a rehabilitation center for unhealed men? Like, what is this? All right, so All Systems Right says the divine feminine shtick is a pipeline to patriarchal gender roles. It appropriates trendy new age terms and reasoning to create the perfect bait for the unsuspecting. True wholeness comes from balancing both the feminine and masculine within yourself. Evian Pride says, thank you. It's supposed to be a balance. Laughing my butt off, come on. As lost as Alice says, I'm riding with Lilith in my dark feminine, and we both hate men. You got Natalie says, I'm in my troll feminine. It's liberating. I said Pharaoh. She says troll. We got This is Mrs. H said, it's important not to skip over stages. The only way out is through. And then Natalie says, I've been divine. This is my elevated state. I'll end with Uppity Negress because I believe that this is absolutely true. She says, you aren't in your divine feminine if you're parroting patriarchal talking points that mirror those, this part, from monotheistic religions where the primary god is a man. Hope this helps. We are no longer like man. There is no God man. Sorry. And many of us have deconstructed the need to pray to these male deities. After a while, Leslie, after a couple of days, she says, maybe I could work on my delivery. She wasn't touching the people that she wanted to touch. And you're not going to get everybody on the same page. Some women are deep in a deconstructing and decentering. You're not going to bring those women back over. That's like thinking you're going to pull an agnostic or atheist into church. It's not going to happen. But I thought that this was an interesting exercise in post. Y'all join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Are you in your divine feminine? You in your troll feminine? You in your pharaoh feminine? Let me know which feminine you're in, if you're in any. Like, comment, and share. We've been talking about how men weaponize food. So we've been talking about it as far as romantic partners, fathers, brothers. These men weaponize food. They do it as a way to control women and girls in some capacity. So this woman jumps into my Reddit inbox. She says, "Hey, Burb, the weaponized food conversation actually strikes a heavy chord with me because I had an ex who absolutely weaponized food and the roof over my head. So I have a horror story for you." She says, "It was when I first moved out from my parents to go to college. I wound up trapped in an abusive relationship, all because I rented the wrong room. It was at the end of my first year. I was far away from my support network and I needed to find a cheaper room to live in to make the budget work for my next year. There was this guy I was casually seeing, and he was staying in a townhouse that had rooms for rent that were cheaper and only on a month-to-month commitment. So easy exit available if needed, and the savings were substantial. First trap I found out a few months after I had moved in. His family actually owned the townhouse under a completely different name. I thought if the relationship went sour, I would be able to get out quickly enough, but that wasn't the case. I was made to understand I could be thrown out at any time and homelessness would cost me my education. And if I was caught looking for a way out, I would be on the curb the next day. I rented the wrong room. Now the roof and my college education were suddenly hostages. Next, he weaponized food. He would only allow me one meal a day because he wanted me to lose some weight to be healthier. He would eat any and all other food or throw it out, or it would just disappear. This worked twofold. It reduced my available money, initially by forcing me to buy groceries twice. Then it forced me to rely more on junk food I could sneak by him. And it ended up sending my body into starvation mode, so I was gaining weight, getting sick and struggling to function because I wasn't getting the nutrition I needed, which was ammo for him to try to break me down further. The abuse got much worse. Worst was, it was a townhouse. We had other male roommates with the month-to-month lease that came and went. At least 14 of them. 12 completely ignored the abuse. 2 tried to quietly help me, but not one ever directly confronted my ex. Always suspected my situation was part of the reason for the high turnover. It took nearly 3 years because he kept me isolated, wasn't allowed friends, drowning at school and starving. I didn't know much about nutrition and my health knowledge was low, so I didn't realize how weaponized food was until I was out. I never thought his behavior was okay, but I thought if I was patient, I would get my education and then I could get out. My breaking point came when all at once they announced they would not be offering my course at the college anymore, and I was not on track to finish in time. Because of the abuse, my grades were suffering, and my ex started talking about our future and kids. It was clear he was going to try to baby trap me. I finally pulled the trigger. I dropped out of college, accepting the loss. Managed to find a room I could barely afford. I had some luck. My new roommate was from my hometown, so I was able to make the arrangements to move while visiting my family for Christmas. I sprung it on him and I was out the next day. He was applying to police college in a few months, so he didn't dare follow me because he feared any police report could get him barred, a fear I honestly embraced and encouraged at that point. He never did get into police college, but I was long gone from him by the time that formal rejection landed. So you see what happened. You really do need food. You need food to function. Food is fuel. And so this is another reason why the whole SNAP conversation really struck a chord at me, because some kids are not getting their nutrition and it harms them at school. And I know that this is kind of a tangent, but it's all related. That's the reason why the birth rate needs to plummet to hell. But this is all part of a control mechanism. And someone mentioned one day, it's all a cycle. The weaker you are, the more you can't fight back. your brain and your body are not functioning at its highest capacity. You're not fully healthy, so you can't fight back, and you just kind of acquiesce and you become a shell of yourself. You can either get gaunt and just like look like you're starving, or you could become overweight because your body is starving so much that any and all calories that you eat, you hold on to them. Your body stores them as fat so that you don't die because it knows that you're in starvation mode. So please know and understand that this whole weaponizing of food and trying to control your intake, either by starvation or, sometimes people try to stuff folks with food, to try to fatten them up. Please know and understand it's just to keep you controlled in one mechanism or another. They use different strategies, but the intent is the same. I appreciate her taking the time to write that up for me. So what we saw in that, we saw the weaponization of food. We saw financial abuse. We saw a woman that in her 20s, she should have been focusing on herself, but she was giving her 20s to a man. That's one of the reasons why I say talk to your teenagers right now so they don't get in a trap like she got in a trap. And she was almost baby trapped. Getting baby trapped will really derail your life, especially if you're trying to be on some kind of trajectory to get your college education or get your career up and running. That's just an anchor to pull you down, especially before you get established. All right, now let's just go to a few of the comments, because we've been having these these conversations in multiple spaces, and I appreciate people telling their stories. So let's look at these other stories. So this is either Annie or Jenny. Maybe that moon is a J, but okay, we'll call her Jenny. She says, I would tell this to my brother all the time, to be considerate of others. And at one point took so much from dinner that my mom did not have anything to eat. Had to go out of my way to get food for her. So even a son stealing so much that his own mother can't eat. Cass said, my dad made me start dieting at age 6. He wouldn't let me use a hair conditioner because he said it would absorb into my skin and make me gain weight. Imagine the kind of body image issues that could cause a person starting someone dieting at 6. Like your body is so jacked up this soon that'll really jack you up mentally and physically. Haunted Reads Ramble says, growing up, my dad was protective, defensive, hoardy about all food coming into the house. He got so mad whenever I cooked or got snacks. That would be the type of person that would be upset at a feminist or some woman that is financially independent, because then he's not in control of anything. So imagine you have to eat before you go home, or leave the house and go eat immediately, or sneak food into your backpack or something. That's the kind of, it makes you sneaky about food. That is not healthy. Stargazer says, what if it's the opposite? You make a nice meal, have some for yourself, give him a plate, and he barely eats it. In the fridge for 2 days after. He'd rather DoorDash. In that case, that's more like just wasting your time, energy, and resources. He's wasting food. There's food in the refrigerator that's going to go bad that you actually cooked. So now he's wasting it. You wasted your time and energy and your money that you spent on those groceries. Hannah says, oh my God, he'd get upset and say I was being greedy if I said I wanted to save some of the snacks that I brought over to share. He'd never cook either or provide snacks. He'd only pay for food if we went out and we had our own portion. I knew I hated it, but I never made the connection with feminism. Oh my God, they don't like independent women that are assertive or confident or anything like that, because then they are not in control. And this is one of the things about feminism. People can't stand feminists for some reason, but they can't exactly put their finger on it. And I don't think that I'm saying anything that's that radical, but people hear the word feminist and they think all kind of negativity about it. It's just like, no, we just want women to be happy, healthy, and whole, have some equality, be able to go out and be safe and all of that. Nothing about hating men, but obviously we don't want women to be controlled to where they have to sneak around to get food. Pinata Tank says, I never noticed it too. The men in my house do this. They eat my food that my mom brought me, and if I ask them, they'll get offended and blame me for not taking it. My mom would also scold me for being selfish by bringing it up. It's all abuse and being held by the stupid abuse by men. And sometimes women uphold the patriarchy. They don't call the men to the carpet. They don't speak to their sons. They don't dare talk to their husbands, and they let their daughters get abused. All right, I will end it here. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this one. So we talk all the time about how staying for the kids, even if there is abuse in a situation, is bad. It's bad for both the girl children and boy children. And this post kind of speaks to that. So this person said, he posted in the True Off My Chest subreddit. He says, I have been lying to my friends for years about why I don't date. The truth is, I'm terrified I'll turn into my father. He says, my dad wasn't violent. He wasn't an alcoholic. He wasn't a monster. He was worse. In a way, he was indifferent. He never cared about birthdays, graduations, achievements. He never yelled, but he never hugged either. He just existed in the house like a piece of old furniture no one wanted to get rid of. I spent my childhood trying to do things right so that he'd look at me, talk to me, something, anything. I'm terrified that's who I'll become if I date someone, that I'll freeze up emotionally, that I'll be present but absent. I don't want to ruin someone else's life with my silence the way he did mine. So I just don't date. I tell people I'm focusing on my career or enjoying being single, but the truth is I'm scared I'm defective. I want to love someone, I just don't trust myself to do it right. This man needs therapy. He's traumatized. Creating children, anybody can create a child, absolutely, but you're supposed to pour into them. You're supposed to love and support them. You're supposed to give them hugs and stuff. You're supposed to care about your kids. And like the abuse of, the physical abuse, it's apparent. You can see that. You can see the scars. You can see the bruises. But people can't see the emotional scars of somebody who is apathetic or unloving. And that's the reason why treating your mental health is just as important as treating your physical wounds. This person needs therapy to get over that so he can feel like he is worthy of love, or even get to the point where he's worthy of loving himself for the love that he didn't get from his father. So like everybody is impacted in different ways. And the different types of abuse, it comes out in different ways, but it can manifest just like this. And so this person is going to have to figure out, if he does want to pursue a relationship ever, to not feel this damaged because the person who was his baseline role model was deficient or defective. So he's going to have to figure out or learn some other tools to love himself first, so that he can be open and supportive and loving to someone else should he ever find someone to connect with. Complex 0405 says, I think you need to talk to someone. The only thing worse than what you're doing is bottling all that up. Open up and try to work through it. You have already learned what not to do from your father. Time to put those lessons to use. Both Mud says, do you have any knowledge why he was like that? Are you currently in therapy? Now, this man doesn't come back and speak on this post, so I'll just do a few of the comments and then wrap it up. Radiant Western says, most people forget even if you have similarities with your parents, you are still not their clone. You don't have to be them if you don't want to be. As long as you're willing to listen to your partner, willing to communicate and trust the other person, you will probably be fine. If you do start to resemble a dining room chair, maybe recognize that and re-engage with those around you. How good of a friend are you? Do you care about your friends or care about just not being alone? Character Tennis says, get therapy to heal from your childhood trauma. And I recognize that not everybody can afford therapy. There's all kind of workbooks. You can find some kind of workbook to work through these things. You can find some kind of book, an audio book to work through these types of things. You don't have to sit in this type of thing, even if your finances or your time is limited or whatnot. Separate Okra says, oh, bless you. I'm not surprised you feel as you do. However, the fact that you're so aware and still in tune with your emotions make you very unlikely indeed to behave as your father has. Try a counselor or therapist to start with and enjoy your life. Allowing things to happen naturally, you'll be okay, No Expression said, these NPC dads who don't give a gosh darn about their own flesh and blood probably had children to take on a legacy or whatever that means. And then Arsa of Vahalia says, oh my God, this was my dad as well, but I went the opposite way. Married the first guy who gave me any sort of attention. I would suggest you go to therapy and just get these feelings out. You are not your father. You are not your father. You are not your father. All right. And I am going to end it there. I do believe that you can change. You do not have to be your childhood example. You can do better because you are your own person. But y'all go ahead and chime in and let me know what you think of this one. I did a good post yesterday. This woman was reporting on this man. This man was talking about how you can move into a woman's house without her even knowing. So this is a homosexual alert post. If you've already seen it, you can go ahead and swipe away, but I didn't get enough views. So I'm tacking it on at the end of this. So if you didn't see it yesterday, you can see it now. So go ahead and check it out if you didn't see it yesterday. It's getting cold. It is cuffing season. This is also when the homosexuals come out. We need to know and understand that we are marching right into the Great Depression #2. And you are not to. If you are a woman with a job that wants to keep your housing, you are not to let one of these homosexuals into your house. You are not. Do not give them shelter. Do not let them burrow into your couch. Do not give them soup. Do not give them your Wi-Fi code, because they will come, they will get comfortable, and they will not leave. Because many of these people, they know the tenants' rights. They talk to other homosexuals. They talk to other parasites and leeches so that they know how to circumvent the laws. They talk to each other about the ways and means to get into a financially stable woman's house and destroy her life. Do not let these people in. All right, so content creator Cash Formations, she put out this PSA over on Threads, and I told her that I'm about to snatch this and I'm going to spread it to my network as well. She says, bruh, I just came across a post telling guys basically how to sneakily move into a woman's house or apartment. Shaking my head. Ladies, it's getting cold and it's homosexual season. Don't fall for it. Yes, I fell for it once. So basically, this is for women to notice the warning signs that he's trying to sneak move in. Warning sign #1, staying the night more often. A couple of nights a week will turn into 3 to 4 nights gradually without you realizing it if you aren't paying attention. So keep your ears open, keep your eyes wide open to see if he's trying to sneak into your house and burrow into your couch. He'll purposely make you enjoy having him around. This creates the vibe without jumping straight into boxes and bags, often trash bags. She says, #2, gradually keeping small essentials there, not furniture, just light stuff. A toothbrush, a hoodie, some boxers, body wash. He'll purposely plant things that make sense based on how often he stays over. That needs to be nipped in the bud ASAP. Make sure he takes all his stuff home every time he spends the night. If you say, you might as well leave that here, you're playing into his hand. That's what he wants to hear. Don't do it. It will accumulate to more stuff fast. #3, make your life easier. He'll make you want him around by doing little things. Take out the trash, help with groceries, cook sometimes, fix things. Keep the place clean, because us women don't mind having a man around when he's adding comfort, not clutter. He'll do those things like clockwork. The human brain loves patterns and repetition. These are micro actions a woman can get used to quick. #4, pay attention to your own comfort level. Women joke about turning our brains off when we're with men, and that sounds cute. Do not be on autopilot to the point where some man can manipulate their way into your home. Be intentional. Have boundaries. Don't make more space for him. Don't give him a drawer. Don't leave a spare key for him. Don't let him let himself in when you're not there. Don't start saying our instead of my. #5, last but definitely not least, do not let yourself get digmatized. A homosexual's magic stick is his main tool and tactic he uses to get resources. Unfortunately, a lot of them have great skills in the bedroom, and if you're not being careful, you won't be able to pay attention. Be slow to become physically intimate with him. Make him date you and wait the first 120 days or 4 months before being intimate. Most manipulators don't make it to the 4-month mark without exposing themselves. And the more you slow play them, if you slow play them, that makes them start to panic. Like, I don't have a room to burrow into. I need shelter right now. If you make them wait and you slow play them, they will expose themselves, because a person with housing, with their own food, can just go back home. If you're dealing with a homosexual that needs food and shelter, he will need to get that food and shelter really quickly, especially as winter is upon us. Number 6, do not let him interact with your children, even in an indirect way. For example, leaving his PS5 game console at your house for the kids to play with, or buying them snacks for them all the time to win them over. Manipulation is dirty work, period. But manipulating you by proxy via your kids is really dirty work. So that's another way. I couldn't even imagine. This is the reason why you do not introduce your kids to these people quickly, because they will use whatever they can to sink their hooks in you. Do not let these leeches hook into you. Do not do it. KK says, man, this is the MFN1. He used my children as his way in, having me use his car to take them to school, offering to pick them up, getting them gifts, and just went above and beyond to help me out in any way. Then used it against me later. This is the worst part of the manipulation by far. And she continues, just being clear, many of the things mentioned above aren't inherently negative traits. However, if a man won't have an upfront, direct, and transparent dialogue with you about him moving into your space, he is trash. Manipulating your way into someone's life, body, or home in any capacity will always be trash behavior and shouldn't ever be ignored or rewarded. And the holy grail rule, I didn't think I had to put this in the rules, but some people don't know. So here it goes. And she put this little hollering face. So this is serious. Do not ever let them have mail come to your address. Once you do that, you might as well put him on the lease, because you will literally have to take him to court to get you out of your space legally. And these people know the laws. They know tenant laws, and they speak to each other. In most states, it only takes a few pieces of mail to come to a person's house, and they can legally squat there. Don't do it. We're just putting this out here because we know and understand that these people are colonizers. They want to come in and take your peace. They want your body. They want you to cook and clean for them. They want you to just provide for them. Don't let them do it. Don't let them take advantage of your time, energy, or resources. She says, I can't believe how many different stories women and even men have underneath this thread on this topic. I am deeply concerned by how easily women allow a male stranger in their home. Ladies, we have to do better at protecting ourselves. Ain't that much love in the world. We need to tighten the F up. She is absolutely right. We need to tighten the F up. But let's look at some of the ladies underneath her post. So what April Reed says, way back when I dealt with them, I found a man's toothbrush in my bathroom. I had already collected my trash and bagged it up. So it came with me to the dumpster and I threw it in there loose and lonesome. And I remember thinking, get this ish out of here. When he asked me about it, I told him I tossed it and don't leave stuff here or I will keep throwing it out. There you go. That's how you have boundaries. And that's what Cash Formation says. We love a stern baddie with boundaries. They bank on us not having boundaries and overlooking little things like that. Journey of 3 says, how he got me was, I'm moving out of my place with my roommate not paying bills. I'm going to come stay the weekend with you and then go to my mom's house on Monday. He never left. Also, he was the one not paying the bills with the roommate. Then when I went to tell him to get out and call the police, he tried to put a toothbrush and his items around the house to show he's been there. I packed all his stuff up and he tried to unpack. See, he said the police gonna come and I'm gonna show him I live there. Kiki versus Keisha says, same ish happened to me, but I was actually not able to return to my house. He told the cops I hit him. I was arrested and everything. Lessons learned. Oh my God. Oh my God. Y'all got to hear these next two comments. Journey of 3 says, oh my God, yep, I had another ex do that. They arrested us both, then he told the truth, but they still wouldn't release me until I bonded out. But the charges got dropped on me. They made him do therapy. And then Kiki said, I had every single utility in that house cut off. He finally left, and after my charges were dropped because he didn't come to court, I moved and never spoke to him again. Y'all, this is the reason why I said many of these people need to be lonelier, because these people can really jack up your finances, your health mentally and physically. They can ruin relationships. Some of these people, like I will continue to say, need to be lonelier. Please pay attention to these warning signs. Do not let them in. Don't let them in.